Yeah.
I am not dying to Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch!
Chris, you already worked with Anthony and Joe, but for you, Millie, if I'm not mistaken, it's the first time. What was it like to work with the Russo brothers?
I'll be very transparent. It was my dream to work with them because they came on to Stranger Things when I was filming season 2. And they came to visit the Duffer Brothers, and then they actually invited me on to watch them film and direct Avengers Endgame. And when I went on to, they were I want to say Chris Hemsworth was filming that day that I went on, and I was watching them direct, and I was like, my dream is to be on the other side of that camera and them direct me one day.
Aww.
And so when this production came, I was, I really didn't mind what it was. The fact that it was Electric State made it 10 times better, but for me, working with them was a huge dream and goal of mine. I love the way that they're able to make any film so cinematic, so epic, and I loved working with them. It's like having two dads just look after you, take care of you, and look out for you, and have your back. I've really been very lucky to be surrounded in really great male inspirations that are able to kind of help protect me, help guide me. And Joe they both have kids, and they kind of took me under their wing as if I was their kid. So I feel very lucky coming to work every day.
Any of you knew the Electric State before? How did you approach the project? Maybe Chris, if you...
I was not familiar with Simon Stallberg's work before reading the script. I was sent the script along with sort of a lookbook that referenced the book, and then of course I got the book and checked it out, and so yeah, I wasn't familiar with it beforehand. But I can tell you there are some truly beautiful crystallizing images from the book that find their way into the milieu of this world, and they are just truly iconic. And I mean, what the Russo brothers and Marcus and McFeely were able to do, inspired from germinating from the seed of that book, which is really visually stunning, but doesn't have the story of Electric State in it, the story that we put on the screen. And so what they were able to do in the world that they were able to create, and the tone and the themes of this sort of raucous adventure, family, sci-fi movie, it's really astounding, really, really incredible. And man, the imagery is just stunning.
Yeah.
What were the biggest challenge of your roles, if you can?
Just, I think, portraying grief in a really raw and emotional way. I think grief is so multifaceted, and I think in Michelle's case, losing, her brother and being an orphan, just trying to encapsulate all different kinds of grief and sadness and, like you said, loneliness. For me, that's always trouble. It felt harder for me to navigate through that. I ended up obviously finding it, but I actually think that was really helpful too, is just finding my way through it, because that's kind of what everyone does through grief.
Yeah.
But that was probably the hardest thing I had to kind of learn.
For you, Chris?
Balancing a personal family life and being on set life has increasingly become the largest challenge with any job that I take. So I think just like the traveling back and forth and trying to be present to both worlds that I'm living in is a beautiful and wonderful challenge.
Chile, we hope you enjoy Electric State. We hope you love it. We hope to come visit you soon. Please let us know what you think on social media. I want to see all your comments, what you think about it, and we love you.
We love you. We made it for you, and yeah, it's only on Netflix, March 14th. Go check out The Electric State.
You have said that the production of the Electric State took about 5 years. What can we expect from the film?
The development of it took about 5 years. The visual look and development of it, the world building, took about 5 years. We like immersing audiences in brand new imaginative worlds with interesting thematics, interesting characters. We like telling big fun stories, or people can have a good time watching the story and then maybe, think about some interesting ideas when the movie's over. And so this really, for us, hits a sweet spot on all the things that we enjoy about storytelling. It's a big, broad appeal movie that's meant to appeal to kids as much as it is adults, because the message in the movie has a lot to do with technology, and we feel like kids are more exposed right now to the technology than the adults are and are more vulnerable to it. So, we made the movie in a certain tone to make sure that it had that appeal.
Joe, how did you come up with the idea of adapting the graphic novel into a motion picture?
It was Chris Marcus, who's a creative collaborator of ours, a part of Marcus and McFeely, who wrote all the Avengers movies and the Captain America films that we did for Marvel, and is now a partner with us in our studio, Agbo. Chris Marcus found the book as a Kickstarter and was so taken with it that he asked Agbo to option it. And so we ended up optioning the book and then spent years developing it into a big feature film.
Anthony, can you tell me something about the robot design and personality? How did you make it?
Yeah, it was a very layered process. So we started with designs, sort of inspired by Simon Stålenhag's robots within his book. And we were working very closely with our production designer, Dennis Gassner, and the entire art department in terms of figuring out what those robots could be in our world, in the world of the movie. So we started with concepts. We worked closely with Marcus and McFeely, like Joe was talking about, in terms of what the various characters would be. And then once we sort of had ideas about the characters and the sort of visual design, we began working with motion capture performers, very talented actors who could both act but also understood movement on a very sophisticated technical level. And we began working with those actors, this is long before we started shooting, in terms of how those robots could move. How do they speak? How do they sound? What do they feel like? What are their personalities in performance? Because it was very important to us to base these robots on actual human performance, both because we wanted that quality in the movie for those robots, but also because we wanted the human characters in the film, the actors who were actually performing in their human form on set, Millie Bobby Brown, Chris Pratt, etc. We wanted them to be able to interact with really strong performances on set. And then once we worked with those motion capture performers in terms of figuring out how to embody those characters, that would go back and inform what they looked like visually. We kept refining their visual look based upon the work that we were doing on set. So it was really those three departments, from writing to art design to performance. It was those three departments all sort of feeding one another with ideas, and Joe and I sort of moving the ideas back and forth between those groups until we have what you see in the movie.
Joe, without making any spoilers, but how close do you think we are to becoming so dependent on technology as seen in the movie?
I mean, I think we are there. I think, and then the movie just meant to be a reflection of, how we feel about the world today and where we think the world today is. Unfortunately, we have a lot of powerful companies whose bottom line is affected by our level of addiction to technology. And they create a lot of tools that force addiction in users. And that's a problem. I think it's probably the biggest problem facing humanity at the moment is our inability to control the technology that we use, and some malevolent intentions behind making us overuse it. And I think the next generation is more immersed in technology than any generation that's come before it, and they're growing up with this tech. I don't know that they have the tools to necessarily deal with how powerful that technology is. And so, the film asks some of those questions of the audience and really asks you to take a look at, how connected you are to the other people in your life, and are you staying connected to the people around you.
Joe, you have worked with several members of the cast. How important is it to recast actors and actresses that you already work with?
We have a lot of fun making movies, and we have family members that we by birth, and we have family members through friendship and through work. And it's really important to us to work with the same people over and over because we enjoy those people. And if we're going to go spend a year on a set somewhere, we want to do it with people that we love and people that we have a strong connection to and a strong relationship with. And so it's important for us that the work experience be as profound as the product that comes out of it. And so getting the opportunity to work with somebody like Chris Pratt, who's as funny and talented and smart and lovely as anybody you could ever hope to work with, it's a dream for us. We do the rest of the movies for the rest of our lives with him.
To finish, is there any upcoming project that you can tell us about? Maybe a new Marvel film?
Just the one you probably already know about, but yeah, we're hard at work right now on Avengers Doomsday, and after that we will move on to Avengers Secret Wars. So that's our next project. But right now we're really happy to be bringing the Electric State to the world.
Thank you, Anthony. Joe.
Thank you very much. Great
All right,
questions.
thank
Thank
you.
you.